if you ask me which are the best two sporty and powerful scooter options right now, well, my first answer will be these two. One is the very loved and still the powerhouse champ with lot of aggression, which is the TVS Ntorq BS-6, and the other is the true premium with packed features and the best-in-class refinement, which is the Honda Grazia BS-6. So from the two, which one should you pick might be a big doubt, and this video is to help you with that because it's the detailed comparison of the TVS Ntorq BS-6 and the Honda Grazia BS-6. Now, like all our comparison videos, we have 5 factors to cover everything, and these are those 5 factors. They are the design and build quality, specifications, ride quality and comfort, mileage, and price. And let's start things with the first factor, which is the design and the build quality. Now, this factor is always a personal preference one because everyone's choice will vary based on their own interest, and as you can see, both these scooters have a very sporty design. The Ntorq compared to the older versions doesn't have a major design refresh, and that's a good thing because the Ntorq's design is still a very standout and attractive one. There is sharpness throughout with great color selection, and if you're going for the race edition variant, well then from the front, the headlight set gets the T-shaped DRL and an LED headlight. This headlight has pretty strong and widespread range and coverage, and therefore night rides are pretty easy, and about the rear section of the Ntorq, it's still a very sharp looking one. The taillight, no matter which variant you go for, will have the T-shaped illumination design, and the air vent patterns all add up to the appeal. And on top of all this, the pillion grab bar is the split type and the design matching one. So that's the overall Ntorq's design strategy, and here, like I said, it's not a very different one from the old Ntorq design. But with the Grazia, Honda has actually done a lot of tweaking and bettering stuff, which makes this BS6 version a sure sharp and elegant one than the old BS4 Grazia. And it all starts with the headlight, which is a fierce looking one. It's a full LED headlight, and the range and coverage from it is really impressive too. And here with the Grazia, the DRL is on the handle, which is like a DO approach, and there is also a small visor here which I really like. The side portion of the Grazia does keep that sharp approach, but it's a much more cleaner panel than the aggressive theme one seen in the Ntorq. And while checking the rear section, well, this time Grazia has also opted for the more sharper look, and I like the sleek tail light used here, and it blends really well with the overall design, and also the grab bar are the split type one, which are good in looks, and also it's a comfortable one too. And here the Grazia also gets the external fuel inlet system, which can be opened from the ignition key control, and actually the Ntorq also gets the external fuel cap, but it's opened from the side key slot. And about the exhaust used in both the scooters, well, the Ntorq retains its super aggressive style one, and the Grazia also gets a really improved one compared to the one in the BS4 Grazia. And now coming to the handle, well, that's a place where both the scooters have done a great job, especially with the switch controls. In the Ntorq, the left houses the dim, bright and pass light toggle along with the indicator control and horn, and on the right side there is the engine kill switch, hazard toggle, as well as the cell start switch. And you have the Ntorq, all the variants has these same switch controls. And with the Grazia, the left side has the same selection of the controls seen in the Ntorq, but in the right it's a bit different, especially with the variants offered. The disc variant of the Grazia gets an idle start-stop toggle and a cell start switch, while the drum variant gets the engine kill and the cell start as a single switch. And yet this idle start-stop control is a very handy feature. It works flawlessly, and what it does is that when you stop in traffic or take a brief halt, the engine automatically cuts off to save fuel, and then when you're ready to resume the ride, just a twist of the accelerator will start the engine. I totally love this feature, and this is not present in the Ntorq, and also one more handy feature present in the Grazia, which is again an omission in the Ntorq, is the side stand engine cutoff feature. I feel this should be a standard in all scooters because this is such a safety feature. But then the Ntorq takes an upper hand while checking the speedo console. The Ntorq gets a fully digital meter which shows plenty of info, and also the console does have Bluetooth connectivity too. So it's like you can get notified about calls, messages, and also there is turn-by-turn navigation available. Now the Grazia, even though it does have a fully digital meter, it does shows all the needed stuff, but there isn't any Bluetooth connectivity available, and actually both these scooters, all variants gets just this meter setup. And by the way, talking about variants, well, the Ntorq's base variant doesn't get a LED headlight, but all the other variants does get a LED headlight, and with the Grazia, both the variants does get the LED headlight. But then while checking the wheels, well, with the Grazia, the drum variant gets a sheet metal and the disc gets the alloy wheel, while with the Ntorq, all variants get the diamond cut alloy wheel. And now since this is a scooter comparison, let's focus on the storage space. And here the Grazia does have the slight upper hand because one, the underseat storage space has a bit more depth, which makes storing a full-size helmet an easy thing, while with the Ntorq, the underseat spacing is wider, but since the depth is not that much, my large size fully covered helmet doesn't fit in. But yeah, one thing to note with this underseat storage side with the Ntorq is that it gets a boot light as well as a USB charging socket, which are both missing in the Grazia. But the Grazia does complement that with a glove box, which is a very premium quality one. And now this glove box doesn't get a lock, so that's something to keep note of. But then the Ntorq doesn't have such kind of a thing. And also about the hooks available, well, both the scooters get dual hooks, which is a handy one for hanging stuff. And the second thing in the storage side is that the footboard spacing in the Grazia seems to have a bit more area than the one in the Ntorq. And about the build quality, well, both the scooters get a fiber body which feels sturdy in both, and here if you can maintain your scooters well, then both will age fine. So that's everything about the design and build quality, and here like I said in the beginning, this category totally depends on one's personal preference, because everyone's approach towards style and features needed does vary a lot. But with the second category, it's just like a paper stuff, and hence you can tally and decide which one reflects better in paper. So let's move into the second factor, which is the specifications. Well, these two scooters are 125cc scooters, and while checking the engine spec, the Ntorq BS-6 does have the very slight advantage in terms of power and torque, and here both these scooters starting method are both self and kick. And checking the body dimensions, well, the Ntorq is a larger scooter in almost every aspect including the curb weight, but with the ground clearance, the Grazia gets a massive margin. Then checking the suspensions, the Grazia has a telescopic front suspension and a 3-step adjustable spring-loaded hydraulic rear one, while with the Ntorq, the front is telescopic and the rear is the coil spring one, and both have hydraulic dampers. Now with the tires, the Ntorq gets a big advantage with both the rims being 12 inches, and also both the tubeless tires are chunky ones where the front measures 100 mm and the rear measures 110 mm. And while checking the Grazia's tire specs, well, the front rim is 12 inches but the rear one is the standard 10-inch one, and both the tubeless tires measures 90 mm in thickness, which is like a standard tire measurement for scooters. And lastly about the brakes, well, both these scooters have drum and disc variants, and hence the brake choice will vary based on the model. And here as you can see, the Grazia's front brake will be either 190 mm disc or 130 mm drum, and the rear is 130 mm drum, and there is also CBS equipped in both the variants. While with the Ntorq, the front can be a 220 mm disc or a 130 mm drum, and the rear is 130 mm drum, and here also all the variants does come equipped with SBT, which is equivalent to CBS. So that's the overall spec sheet comparison, and here this paper stuff does keep jumping back and forth in terms of advantage, and usually I won't pick a scooter just based on this factor, but it's just for a reference. And for me, what really matters is the next factor, which is the ride quality and comfort. And yeah, let's first talk about the Ntorq. And till now, from all the scooters I've tested, the Ntorq still remains the best performance scooter. There is really good power and torque, and hence the scooter does accelerate at a quicker pace. And actually that power rush thing is very evident throughout the ride. And that's well complemented with the exhaust note, and overall based on performance, the Ntorq does shine a lot. You can easily hit the 90s mark, and even while reaching that speed, the scooter remains very stable, and actually till the 85 km/h range, there is no engine stress or body vibrations. And overall, I like the ride quality in the Ntorq, and I'm also impressed by its performance. And with the Grazia, well, Honda did equip the Grazia with silent start, which is a great feature, and it's like an impressive initial feel. And then while hitting the road, well, this 125cc Honda engine is also a powerful one, and it does come very close with the Ntorq in terms of performance. And there is pure refinement and smoothness, which is an exceptional thing with all the Honda scooters, and you can see that in this Grazia too. Hitting the 60 km/h mark from zero can be done at a very quick pace, and after that also the scooter can push further to reach the speed up to 85 km/h without giving any stress to the engine. And here in the speed range from 0 to 85 km/h, the Grazia doesn't have any vibration or disturbance, and that paired with the ideal start-stop feature in the disc variant does make the ride a very economic and joyful one. And actually the Grazia does show its upper hand when it comes to the comfort side too. The seat used in the Grazia is a wide one with proper cushioning, and that paired with the lavishly spaced footboard and also proper riding posture does all add up to give an excellent ride comfort. And here the soft set suspension in the Grazia is like a backbone in the comfort department. Now with the Ntorq also, the comfort side is well covered because TVS did everything in the right manner too. The seat used is a good one, and the footboard is also an adequately spaced footboard. Then about the riding posture, it's the upright one, and also the suspension in the Ntorq are moderately soft set too. So it's like the comfort in the Ntorq is also a nothing to worry thing, but here for the comparison, the Grazia gets the slight advantage. But Ntorq does pull things back when it comes to the safety. The top variant of the Ntorq does a better job when it comes to the panic braking, and the speed range I'll rate safe is under the 75 km/h mark. And with the Grazia's top variant, it's also a very safe and stable scooter, but here the safe panic braking speed is slightly less, which is under the 70 km/h mark. But in terms of stability, both the scooters are very stable ones in high speeds and also through worse conditions, but in such a scenario, the Grazia has the upper hand in terms of the ground clearance. And then about the ride control, well, since the Grazia is the lighter scooter of the two, it was a bit more easy one to flick around through traffic. And if in case you're curious about the seat height, well, for me, both these scooters didn't give any trouble with the seat height or the footboard, and even with the handle. And as a reference for you, my height is 176 centimeters. So these are everything in the ride quality and comfort department, and here both the scooters have their pros and cons. cons. Nothing is 100% perfect, and hence you can pick the one that suits you better based on your priorities while riding. But still, it's not yet time to make a final choice because we have two more factors left, and hence let's check the fourth factor, which is the mileage. Here, firstly, with the fuel tank capacity, the Ntorq has a slightly bigger tank measuring 5.8 liter in capacity compared to the standard size tank measuring 5.3 liter in the Grazia. And about the mileage we got, well, with the Grazia it's approximately 55 km per liter, and with the Ntorq it was approximately 51 km per liter. Now these are numbers while riding in mixed conditions, and also please note, mileage will vary for everyone because mileage totally depends on the riding style and riding condition. And now to the last factor, which is the price. Well, as you might already know, both these scooters have different variants in which the Ntorq, on top of all the normal variants, does offer some additional theme scooters too. And here is the ex-showroom pricing in Kerala for these two scooters. And as you can see, both the scooters' top variant does come close in the ex-showroom pricing. But then if you skip the Ntorq's Super Scott edition and just compare pricing with the race edition and the other variants, well, the Ntorq is a slightly cheaper scooter. So I guess that's everything for this comparison. These are two excellent offerings for anyone looking for a 125cc sporty style scooter, but here, as you saw, there are plenty of differences, and hence your final pick should totally depend on your priorities. Grazia gets plenty of features and has a very refined, smooth and powerful engine along with great ride comfort and convenience, and also has the slightly better mileage. The Ntorq, on the other hand, is still the performance champ and offers great safety along with Bluetooth connectivity, wider choices, and also a slightly lower price tag too. So it's like both the companies are on a roll, and the real benefit is for us, the buyers. That's up for this video, guys. Hope you liked it. If so, a like is much appreciated, and a sub to the channel will be awesome. And by the way, before you leave, which one from the two is your pick? Please leave that in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.